Hello and welcome. So you want to buy a house, you go to YouTube and see some videos and you run into people who are giving you dangerous advice. These realtors, these brokers, they're telling you to put down 5%, 2%, 10%, and they're putting you in a very difficult situation. Please be very careful because these people don't care about you or your life savings. They just want to sell you the loan and the house and then move on to the next client. I was literally shocked when I saw one of the videos where this guy was sitting in a living room with some laundry hanging off the back, and this lady was sitting in her kitchen and giving advice on how to save money by not putting down enough down payment. These people are not qualified. If these people can't even clean their laundry room, what makes you think they can even care about your loan or your house? What's worse is that some of these people were hiding some real facts that you have to pay a PMI insurance, which is an extra payment you'd have to pay on your loan if you don't put down at least 20%. That's some money that you never get back, folks, and you must understand that. Yes, it is possible to get those loans, but they come with a consequence. The reality is quite different than what these people online are telling you. And please keep in mind, some of these realtors are not very educated. There is no requirement to even have a degree to be a realtor. In this short video, I'm going to show you some benefits, the pros and cons of 5%, 10%, and 20% loans. And I'm going to give you my recommendation, which I think is best for you. I will also go over the items that you have to also pay in addition to their mortgage insurance. Folks, mortgage insurance is not the only thing you're paying. You're also paying taxes. You're also paying PMI possibly. You're also paying HOA fees and insurance and so on and so forth. So if that's something that interests you, stick around for more. So let's start with the history of down payment, right? Who said 20% is the down payment? Well, back in the 1930s, you don't even have a 20% down payment. You have to put down 30% down payment to even get a loan, and you have to pay that loan off in 3-4 years. But in the 1950s, the banks decided and the government decided, let's at least give people a break and give them 20%. And around 1956, they decided people can even put down less than 20%. And that's what gave birth to the 20% and then now 10% loans. So it is form of an insurance for the banks to make sure that you can make your payment in a matter of 15 to 30 years, which is the norm. I'll give you a different way to think about this. Let's say you go to a friend and you ask them, I want to do a partnership with you and buy a property, and I want to put 80% down. And this friend says, well, I can only put down 3%. Would you be doing that partnership with them? It is a partnership with the banks, folks. Banks don't have any money. Investors like myself give the banks money so they can lend the money to you, the borrower. Does that make sense? Great. If you feel like I'm giving an answer to your problems, and if you leave these comments and I answer your questions, please drop a like and subscribe and show your love to your boy AK. Thank you so much. So to simplify for you, if you were to ask me and summarize which payment is the best practice, which payment is the best that I would recommend, I can tell you right now, 20% is the industry standard. Why? There are many benefits for it, which we will talk about in a minute. It is easier to get approved with 20%. You don't have to pay any PMI insurance. You will be considered preferably by a seller if you have 20% down. It's easier to qualify for a loan. You can pay off your loan much quicker, and so on and so forth. There are many benefits for 20%. Now, you don't have to do it. You can put down 10%, 15%, whatever you want. And there are repercussions for that, which we will discuss in this video. Another thing to consider is their 15-year loan versus 30-year loan. 15-year, you can pay off the loan quicker, you pay less interest, and 30 years is obviously a long-term loan. I personally recommend, and this is my tip, is to always go for a 30-year loan. Why? Because you can always make extra payments every month to offset that 30 versus 15-year difference. Also, there are different kinds of loan. There's conventional loan versus non-conventional loans, but we won't get into that. If you have bad credit, I would stick with the non-conventional loan, which is the government-backed loans. There's also some programs to support you and help you with the payment assistance, especially for first-time home buyers. I believe Biden has about a $15,000 grant that you can qualify for only if you're a first-time home buyer. Please also understand that sellers in this market, the seller doesn't pay the closing costs anymore. What happened in the past few years with the market spiking up, the sellers are now asking the buyer, you want my house, I name the price, and you pay the closing costs, which is another 3% in addition to the loan you're taking. Now, some lenders do offer assistance for closing costs as well, and you can work with your lender to figure that out. So what is the benefit of putting down 5% and 10%? One of the most obvious things that you can do is obviously save some money and put it in your pocket. But that money doesn't go to your house, it stays in your bank as security blanket. However, you will be paying a PMI insurance, which is the bank is telling you, I don't fully trust you. I want you to make some extra payments to guarantee insurance for the loan that I'm giving you. It takes longer to pay off your loan. If you have 5% down or 10% down, and I'm going to show you amortization table to see your 30-year payment versus 15-year payment, you're also paying a lot more interest in the long run because you're only putting down 10%. Now, if you don't have any money for 20%, then by all means go with 10%. But my recommendation again is not to do that. If you're close to, let's say 15% or 16%, you need a little bit of padding to get to that 20%. Please reach out to some of your friends and family if someone can let you borrow that money and then pay off that. And so you don't have to pay, PMI insurance for the 30-year life of the loan. So why not talk about 5%? Folks, here's the thing, right? 5% I won't even get into because I don't think it's worth it. Why? Because if you think you can't even put down 5% for a house, you got to question yourself. Can I even afford this house? I don't judge it. I'm not going to tell you to do that or not. All I'm saying is that if I were you, if you want my opinion, 5% will make you harder to qualify. Any viable seller would not consider you to buy their house if you only put down 5%. I mean, think about it in the common sense, right? Somebody gives you earnest money deposit of $10,000 with 5% down bank approval versus somebody who is putting down 20% deposit as a bank approval and giving you a $10,000 check. Which one would you prefer? One other huge drawback of putting down less payment upfront is you can have a huge monthly payment. And the lower you put down, the higher the monthly payment. So you have more stress. One other tip I have for you is that always have up to 6 months of monthly expenses in the bank before you even get a loan. Why? Because if something happens, you get sick or you lose your job or something of that happens, you won't lose your house. So now let's look at some of the amortization tables, okay, for 10% down versus 20% down so we can see and compare what's happening. I'm going to first start with 20% down and show you guys what 20% down looks like. So what we see on the screen here is with the 20% down on a $400,000 house because the average median price is almost close to $400,000. We're putting $80,000 down, 3.11 interest rate. So the three things you have to worry about here is there's no PMI here. Your monthly payment is $1,701. The total interest paid is $772,000, 548, and the total payments overall in 30 years is $612,548. Now let's look at the 10% down scenario and see how it's comparatively different than 20% and how much more interest you're paying per month and how your monthly payment changes. So we put 10% down, which is $40,000. Wow, your payment jumped from $1,701 to now $2,172, folks. The total interest paid is $194,000 instead of $172,000. Okay, but not only that, let's look at the total payments is $692,000, folks, compared to $612,000. So the $80,000 difference. Your monthly payment is higher by $400. You're paying $80,000 overall more for the life of the loan, and you're also paying about $20,000-$30,000 roughly in interest payments. So that is the difference in 20% versus 10% down payment. So let's also look at the payment breakdown of all the parts of payments that you have to pay towards your loan, okay? There's closing costs, there's house maintenance fee, there are fixes that you have to do in your house, health insurance, gym cost, gas costs, cleaning costs, car payment, internet cost. Maybe you have kids, you want to send kids to school, that's a cost. Grocery shopping is a cost. Shopping itself is a cost. HOA fees is a cost. Homeowners insurance is a cost. So if you were to add all these up, your payments would not be $1,700 a month. It would actually be something close to $4,100 a month. Wow, what a difference. And that's your total budget, folks. So if you make $10,000 a month, and after taxes you're taking home is $77,000 or so, 70% of $10,000. Imagine you're paying almost 50% of your mortgage with all your expenses. You have to look at the whole budget is what I'm saying. Look at the whole entire budget to be able to understand if this mortgage is really feasible for you and if you can even afford this house. Another valid question you might ask is, what do most Americans pay? The reality is, folks, most Americans pay close to 10%, okay? But most Americans pay lower payments. That's why they have a lot more stress, a lot heftier payments, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to copy the norm. You want to be different. You want to put down a little bit more that you can, is my recommendation. If you can't afford it, that's a totally different case. I understand you don't have to, not everybody can do it, but if I were you, I would wait a little bit more, save a little bit more, and then make that payment to have the comfort level, to have a manageable payment, and have some money in the bank in case something happens. You can have something to fall back on. So next, let's get into some Q&A session to make sure that we answer any of the comments that you may have about your city or state. Some people have asked me to look into, I think, Pittsburgh, Arizona, and perhaps SoCal, California. So let's get into that. Belly has asked about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Belly, thank you for your comments. I believe the towns you were looking for were Bellevue. So in Bellevue, let's see what's going on. In Bellevue, the median price is $178,000, which is way lower than the national average of $385,000. However, the prices keep going up 20% every year. So you have to understand that if you buy now, your price might drop 10-20%. You never know. Median days on the market is 48, which is very high compared to the national average. So it means you don't have much competition. Oh, wow. One more thing. Look at the graph is actually dropping after October of 2021. So it looks like the prices are dropping in your area, and it may continue to drop till December. So if I were you and you're ready to buy, I would definitely jump in the market right now. So next up is Nabi. Nabi, thank you for leaving the comment. You asked about Irvine and Costa Mesa in SoCal. So the price is, wow, $1.2 million, and it has escalated to 31% year after year. So you're paying 30 to 40% higher price than normal in this market. Numbers of homes sold is only 77, so there's competition. Number of days on the market is 32, which is much higher than the national average. So what does that tell us? That tells us the competition is not as high because not everybody can shell out $1.2 million or more. So the next up is Irvine, California. Let's look at that also. Irvine is a similar story. It's almost $1.2 million, 1.8, 28% growth. So it's a bit less than Costa Mesa. However, a number of homes sold is much larger, which is 214. So there's plenty of supply for homes in this area. The median days on the market is 26. So that means in either of these areas, the houses sit in the market a bit longer. Again, the price point is very high. Also look at the cost of living. And if you're buying a condo, by the way, just know there's condo fees involved. Again, condo fees can change anytime, okay? I own several condos and I've dumped most of them. But I've owned condos in DC where the payment just to park your car was up to $400 a month just to park your car. So just to give you an idea. Now, so Nabi, if I can be of any other help, please let me know. Now let's move on to Jake. Jake is getting married in Phoenix, Arizona. Congratulations, Jake. I hope you get married and everything goes well for you. And I hope you find a beautiful house for your wife. The situation in Phoenix, Arizona does not look too good. The median price is $410,000, which is way above the national average. The numbers of homes sold is pretty good. So you got 2,000 homes to choose from every month. Median days on the market is about 30. That's higher than the national average. So you don't have as much competition. My speculation is, Jake, that the market will keep going up. And if you want to buy now, bite the bullet and just buy now because the prices are already inflated up to 28%. It may go a little bit higher before it comes down, but just keep in mind you want to stay there long term, okay, not short term. I would also recommend maybe looking into buying a piece of land, maybe constructing a home yourself. I heard the cost of building is cheaper in Arizona, so that may be another option. So there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining me. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be here, so I appreciate you guys giving me a chance and share my knowledge. If you like the content, again, like and subscribe. Show some love for your boy AK. I do want to tell you guys, if you look at some of these channels that you are subscribing to, please ask them what are their credentials. Okay, ask for their credentials. This is my dog Gooby, by the way, and he's very anxious to go have dinner with me. So I'm gonna come, sweetie, in a second. Ask them what their credentials are. Ask them if they're educated or not. Ask them if they have done any investing or not. But I'm not saying that they're all bad. There's some very good realtors out there, but even realtors will tell you that most realtors are really bad and very incompetent. So be very careful if you get your advice. You know, our channel is growing, and thanks to you, thanks to everyone who's listening. The purpose of this channel, again, is to help the outsider like myself, and outsider like yourself, so we can pass the knowledge to people and educate people so they can make better financial decisions. Buying a house is also an investment. It's a 30-year commitment. So I would take it very seriously. Now, I take life a bit more casually and I roll with the punches. But if I were you, I would advise you, just because rates are low, just because there's a sale doesn't mean you go and buy that shoe. The rates are low, the historic low, that's a fact, right? But here's something to think about. The prices are historic high. Boom. Think about that for a second, right? Prices are historic high. and rates are historic low. Does that really make sense to pay historic high prices? And if you think, this is the time for you to buy, whether you want to put 5%, 10%, 20%, then by all means, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. It's not the end of the world. A house is always an investment. You can live there long enough to recover your costs. If your house value goes down 20%, just be aware it will take you 5 to 10 years to recover that cost. With that, I want to thank you all for joining me. I love you all. Have a fantastic day.